In this video and in the next videos, I'm going to show you how to create an SQLite database to store data in our Android app. Therefore, I'm going to create a new project. I'm going to choose empty activity, click on next. I'm going to call it contacts because we're going to store in our database data about contacts. I'm going to type contacts, click on finish. And our project is going to be created in a short time. Alright, now on the left hand side on the project pane, I'm going to right click on the com.example.contacts package because we are going to create a few packages. Go to new, select package. The first one is going to be called data. Here we're going to put our database. The next one is going to be called model. Here we're going to put our model classes. And the next one is going to be called utils. And here we're going to put our utilities like our constants or code that you need to use in your code. So I'm going to type utils. And I'm going to go first in the model because what we are trying to do is to create a contact which has, as you can see in this image, an ID, a name, and a phone number. So you need to create first a class which represents that. So I'm going to go to model, right click, go to new, select Kotlin class file, contact, sorry. And here I will type data class contact, and here I will type val ID of type int, val name of type string, and val phone number of type string. Then I'm going to put curly braces and I will create another constructor which is going to have only the name, the phone number. Now I'm gonna pass those values to our primary constructor. So for the ID, I'm gonna put, let's say, -1, and now I'm gonna pass the parameter name from our secondary constructor and our phone number. As you can see, it's gray out because it's not used. But when I press now enter, it's no longer gray out. All right, now I'm gonna go inside data. Here we're going to create our database. So I'm going to create a new Kotlin class file. And I'm going to call it database handler because there are a lot of, as you'll see, there are a lot of functions that we need to write, like to create the database, to insert data in the database, to update the database, to get data from the database. And all of that is going to be in this database handler. So we type database. Let's database handler, press enter, and here I will type class database handler inherits. So let's put a primary constructor here, inherits from SQLiteOpenHelper. And now this expects some parameters. First, it's expecting a context, a name. You have this factory, you're gonna see what is, and have the version. But I'm not gonna pass those yet. I'm gonna pass those first. I'm gonna create some constants, and after that I will pass what is required here. So I will go inside our utils, and now I'll create some constants because we are going to use a lot of queries, and let's say you want to select data from the database. You're going to use the select from and the name of the database. And instead of typing those names every time, the name of the columns, to type those names every time we run a query, we create constants to avoid errors because you can have a typo and that is going to generate, it's going to crash our app. So I'm going to create a new Kotlin class file, call file, select file, and it's going to be called constants. And here I will type object. So object, sorry, constants, curly braces, and here I will type companion object. No, here I will type constant val. And first, I'm going to type database underscore version, and it's gonna be equal to 1. Then I'm gonna type constant val database name. So I'll type database name. So here I type database, so or contacts.db. Then another constant val table name. Now table, so the name of the table. Name of the table is gonna be contacts. So these are the constants for our database. Now down here I will create constants for our columns. So I'll type here const val key underscore id is gonna be equal to id, const val key underscore name gonna be equal to name, and const val key underscore phone number equals to phone number. Alright, so now we have our constants. Now what we can do is you can go inside our database handler. Now here I can type now val context, and I'm gonna type context is gonna be. Now here I can pass, so let's type again SQLiteOpenHelper. So now we're gonna pass the context that is in our primary constructor, the names, and now I'm gonna use our constants. Constants dot so somehow no contacts, I type constants, sorry, constants, so constants dot, and now I'm gonna pass the database name. Next we have this thing called factory. Here we're gonna pass null, and next you have version, and here I'm gonna type again constants dot, and I'm gonna pass the database version. Now I'm gonna put curly braces and press enter. Now, as you can see, this is underlined because you need to implement some functions. So I'm gonna right click on this bulb, implement members, and I'm gonna choose those functions. Click on OK, and we have to do not yet implemented, to do not yet implemented. Alright. Now I'm gonna end this video here, and in the next videos we're gonna create our database, and I'm gonna also see how we can add some functions to our database. But this is no longer the recommended way for creating a database by creating a database handler and inheriting from the SQLiteOpenHelper, and as you will see, to add queries to create the database, and to add functions to get data from the database. There is something new called from the Android architecture components called Room, but I'm showing you the first how we did things in the past to see the contrast of how this library called Room is doing things better, like in contrast with this that we have here to inherit from the SQLiteOpenHelper. And as you'll see, we'll have a lot of code when we will try to update, to delete, or to get data. And with this new technology called Room, everything is much easier. But we're gonna get to that after we finish this part. So I'm gonna end this video now, and see you in the next video. In this video we are going to add the SQL statement which is going to create a table inside the onCreate function, because here we are receiving the database instance. So let's change the name of this parameter to db to be more precise. Also this to db, and this to old version, and this to new version. and here I'll type val, and I'll type create table, because we're gonna add a statement which is gonna create a table. Create table contacts equals, and here I'll type, and this is not case sensitive, so you can type in lowercase letters or in uppercase letters, but I'm gonna type in uppercase letters to make it more clear. So I'm gonna type create table $, constants dot table name, so the table name. Then I'm gonna put here opening parenthesis, I will press enter, and here I will type ID. So I'm gonna type again $, constants dot key underscore ID, and next I will type integer primary key auto increment, and I put a comma. Then you go to the next line, and here now I'll type $, again, constants dot key underscore name, and this is gonna be text. For the type, put a comma, you go to the next line, and here I'll put $, constants dot key underscore phone number, and this is also gonna be a text, and we're going to sorry, not here, outside the curly braces. This is also gonna be text, and we're going to close our parentheses. So now this statement is going to create a table, but in order to create a table, you need to use our database instance. So we're going to type db dot execute equal, and here we're going to pass our string create table contacts, and now that is going to create a table, and this is nullable. So let's put the Elvis operator here. So this, as you can see now, this is colored because it recognizes that it's a SQL statement. So you have create table, the name of the table. Then you have the structure of the table. You have the ID, which is an integer primary key auto increment. So it's going to be auto incremented. Then you have the name, which is going to be a text. And then you have constant key phone number, which is going to be also text. And when it's set here db dot execute SQL, is going to create the table when you're going to use this database handler. Next, let's go on upgrade, because on upgrade is called when you're going to upgrade our database. And here we need to type also db, our database instance. So db dot execute SQL. I'm going to type here drop table if exists, and here I will put $. So let's go back. $, constants dot table name. So what this is gonna do is gonna delete our table, and it's gonna create a new one. So this is why you have this old version and new version, because this probably under the covers is checking to see if the old version is equal to new version. If it's not equal, it's gonna delete the table and it's gonna create a new one. But to create a new one, you need to go down here, and we need to type onCreate. So we're calling the onCreate function, and we pass db. So we pass our db. Alright, so as you can see, now we have our table created. Local variable should start with it says that it should start with a lowercase letter. We can ignore that. And we have our statement, which is going to create a table. We have db.execute SQL, so it's going to execute that, and then it's going to create a table locally in the database, locally in your phone, or in your phone. And also we have an upgrade, and drop table if exists. What it's doing is deleting the table. So this command here, specifically this from here, is going to delete this table with this table name. So I think I'm gonna end this video here, and in the next video I'm gonna look at how we can add functions to add data in our table, how to get data from our table, how to edit data from our table. So we are going to do all of this in the next video. Therefore, I'm gonna end this video now and see you in the next video. One more thing, you can delete the val here because this is not used in our class, so it can be declared only as a parameter, not a property. So now I'm gonna end the video and see you in the next video. Now it's time to see how we can create certain CRUD operations. And CRUD stands for create, read, update, and delete. And those are the main operations that we're gonna operate on our database. So I'm gonna go down here. And the first one is gonna be to add a contact to our database. So I'll type here fun add contact. It's gonna have a parameter contact of type contact. Put curly braces, and here I will type val db equals, and I will type this dot, and I will use this writable database. So this stands for get writable database. And what this is gonna do is gonna create an instance of the database, which is gonna allow us to call functions like insert, update, delete. This is what this line of code is basically doing. Now, down here we need to create something called content values, and a content value is simply a data abstraction that we can use to add key value pairs like maps, for example. So I will type here val values equals to content values, then I will type here values dot put, and here you need to pass the key, so I'll type constants dot, and then I'm gonna choose key underscore name, and I will type here contact dot name. So this is the key, and this is the actual value, contact dot name. Then I'll type values dot put constants dot key underscore phone number equals contact dot phone number. Next, I will type, we need to insert this into a row. So to insert this into a row, let's put a comment here, insert into, so insert to row. And I'll type db dot insert, here we need to specify the table, constants dot table name, so the name of the table. Here we need to pass null column. Here you can pass null, and now here I will pass values. So this is gonna add now our contact inside our database. And very important, you need to close the database. I'll type here db dot close. Now down here I will create another function, and this is gonna get the contact. So I'll type here fun get contact. We're gonna have an ID, so I'll type here ID of type int. So we're gonna get the contact based on the ID, and it's gonna return a contact. Curly braces. This I'll type again val db equals, and now I will type here this dot readable database, because now we're gonna read to the database. So that is gonna give us access to all the read functions that are disponible for this DB, that are provided by this that are provided by the database. Then I will go down here and I will type val cursor, and a cursor is a class that allows us to go through or iterate through our database data. And I will type db.query Now we need to pass the table on which you want to perform the query, constants.table name. I'm gonna use that. Then I'm gonna type array of. So now we're gonna type what data you want to get back. So I'm gonna type constants dot key ID, comma, constants dot key name, and constants dot key phone number. Then I'm gonna put here a comma, and I'm gonna go to the next line, and you can push this also on the next line. And here I will type constants dot key ID, and then I will put plus, I'm gonna put equals, question mark, and I'm gonna put a comma, and then I will type array of, and here I will type ID. Then I will put here null, null, and null, and also null. And we have a problem here because we need to put ID dot toString here. Alright, so now our data, so let's talk about what we have here. We have a query on our table, on our contacts table. We want to get from that table the ID, the name, and the phone number, and we want to get the data for this particular ID that is passed here as a parameter. So this ID that is passed here, for this ID you want to get this data that we have above. So this is what this thing is doing. What we need to do next is I'm gonna type here cursor question mark dot led, so I'm gonna check for null, and I'm gonna type it dot move to first, and that is gonna move the cursor to the first. And here I will type val contact equals, actually let me do it like this, return contact, and here we need to pass now the values and the data that we get it back, and the data is inside the cursor, so we need to use the cursor in order to get the data. So I'm gonna type here cursor dot get string. I'm gonna put 0, and I'm gonna put dot to int. So we have a problem. So we have a problem here. So let's delete this code. Let's type return contact, and here I will type cursor dot get string as 0 dot to int. Then I'll put a comma. I'll type cursor dot get string at 1. Another comma. Cursor dot get string, and I'm gonna pass here 2. Now everything works fine. Now this is gonna return our contact, which again we query for this specific table, we query for those specific columns, we get the data, we get the data for this particular contact which has this ID passed here as an argument, and then we check to see if it says remove let call, it's redundant. Anyway, we check to see if this is not null, we move to first if it's not null, and then we return a new contact, so return the contact back. So I'm gonna end this video here and see you in the next video. In this video we are going to create a function which is gonna return all the contacts from our database. So I'll go down here. and I'll type fun get all contacts, and it's gonna return a mutable list of contacts, curly braces, and here I'll type val db equals this dot get readable. Now I'll create here a list, so I'll type val contact list equals to mutable list of contact, and now I'll type the statement which is gonna get us all the contacts. So I'll type here val select all equals to select asterisk, let's put a space, from, and I'm gonna put $, contacts constants dot table name. Then I'll go down, I'll create a cursor, so I'll type val cursor equals, I'm gonna type here db dot row query, I'm gonna pass our select all and null for the second argument. Then I will type here if cursor dot moves to first, so if there is something there, I'm gonna type do while cursor moves to next, so while there is something to the next. And here I will type val contact equals to contact and I will type here contact dot id equals to cursor dot get string 0 dot to int. We have a problem here, let's change it to var. Alright, then I'm gonna type contact dot name equals to cursor dot get string 1, and you also need to change this to var. Then I will type contact dot phone number equals cursor dot get string 2. Also need to change this to a var. And here I will type down here, I will add, so put a comment, add contact to the contact list. So I'll type here contact list dot add contact, and I will go down here and I will type return contact list. So here you have the select from, and this is gonna return all the data from our database, and we have the cursor. We will check to see if the cursor moves to first is something, if there is data. Then we do this do while, and while there is so here while cursor that moves to next, we are saying while there is data, then move to the next and get the next data, and we're gonna put the data in our contact, and we're gonna add after that that contact in our contact list, and at the end we return the contact list. So this is what this is doing. Now let's go inside main activity, and here I will type val db equals to database handler, we need to pass the context. I'm gonna type this, then I will type db, and I'm gonna add some contacts. Add, and here I will type contact, and I will pass, let's say, the name Alex, and the phone number, let's say some random number. Let's press Ctrl D. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's change this to John, Maria, and Anna. And let's change the number. Now, I will go inside activity main.xml. I will go to code. I will delete this text view, and I will create a linear layout. I'm gonna put orientation vertical, and I will type here text view. But I will put first nested scroll view because I'm gonna display our contacts here. I'm gonna put match parent for the width and wrap content for the height. And here I will put a text view, match parent for the width, wrap content. Actually, let's put wrap content for both. So let's put here wrap content. It's gonna have an ID. Text view data. Go inside main activity. I'll type private latent var text view data of type text view, and here I will type text view data equals to find view by ID r.id dot text view data. And we have the underline. Let's go to build. Let's clean our project to get rid of the underline. Alright, now here I will type val contact list equals to db dot get all contacts. And here I will type for contact in contact list, and here I will type text view data dot append \n, and I'm gonna type name $, contact dot name. Then I will type, press enter. I will put again a \n, phone number, and put $, contact dot phone number. So this is what we're gonna append in our text view data. Now, if you run our app, but let me first wipe the data to not get into problems. So now if you run our app, alright, so we have our app open and everything works fine. As you can see, we have our data display here, but it's very small. So let's change the text view size. So text view size to 20 sp, and let's change gravity to center horizontal. Let's run our app again. Alright, so now we have all of our data and everything works fine, because we have name, phone number, John, and we have Anna, Alex, John, Anna, and we have it 2 times because I put their text data pen, so it appended the previous text. But that can be changed by not putting append and put it simply here text equal to. So now but let's put this in the middle. So let's delete this parenthesis. I don't know. So let's layout gravity center. Let's run our app again. I don't remember which one was layout gravity. I always forgot this, or simply gravity to put our text in the middle. So we have now only have Anna phone number 422. So now we have another problem. So let's reverse this code. Let's create here a variable called var data equals to and let's take this. So let's copy this, let's delete this, let's type here data equals to, and here we're gonna put contact dot phone number, and we have an underline. Right, so and at the end here outside the loop I'm going to type text view data dot text equals data. So now if you run this, we also get only Anna and the number, and we get only that because here we need to put plus equals. So plus equals. So let's run this again. Click on terminate. So now we have our data, all of our data. Now let's go inside the activity main.xml and let's delete this nested scroll view, because as you can see this is scrollable, but I think this is because of this we can't center our data, but it's okay like this. I mean, it's looking fine. And let's put gravity center. So let's run this again. And we have more data than the data that we added, because when our as you can see now was centered, because when this on create is called, it's gonna add those contacts again and then again and again. So this is why we get here multiple times. But anyway, the point is that our app works fine and we have our data and everything works fine. So I'm gonna go inside activity.xml. I'm gonna delete this. Let's press Ctrl Z to put back the nested scroll view to make it scrollable. And I'm gonna end this video here and see you in the next video. In this video, we're gonna see how we can get one contact passing the ID to our get contact function. Therefore, I'm gonna go inside main activity. I will comment this code. I'll go down here and I'll type val contact equals, and I'll type db.getContact, and I will pass 3, so I'm gonna get the third element. Then I will type TextViewData dot text equals quotation marks. I will type here name, $, contact dot name, a \n to move to the next line. I'm gonna type now phone number, $, contact dot phone number, and we should uncomment this. So let's go inside the activity main.xml because I want to change something. So let's delete this nested scroll view. Let's put gravity center, it's okay, and let's put the size to 30 sp. Let's go back inside main activity. Now, if you run this, alright, so our app opened and we have name Maria, phone number 324434, and we got our contact using db.getContact. Now I'm gonna go inside database handler. I will go down here and I will add a function to update a specific contact. So I'll type here fun update contact. It's gonna receive a contact as a parameter, and it's gonna return an integer. And here I will type val db dot this dot writable, because we're gonna write to our database. Then I will type val values. We're gonna use our content values again, content values, and here I will type values dot put constants dot key name. I will type contact, our parameter dot name, values dot put constants dot key underscore for number. I'm gonna type contact dot phone number, and then I will type return. So now we're going to update the row, so I'm going to put a comment here, update row, and I will type here return, and I'll type db dot update. I'm going to pass the table, so constants dot table name. Then I'm gonna pass the updated values. I'm gonna put a comma, and then I will type constants. Let's hide the emulator to make things more clear. Dot key ID. I'm gonna press enter. Key ID, and I will put here a plus, and I will put quotation marks, equals, and question mark. Then I will press enter, and I will go to the next line. We need to put also a comma here. Let's put a comma, and I will type here now array of, and I will type here contact dot get ID, so ID dot toString, and that is gonna update our contact. Now if you go inside main activity, I will go down here and I will type val new contact equals to our contact from above, and should be contact here. And down here I will type db dot update contact, and I will pass new contact here. Then I will type val, let's go down, updated val updated contact equals to db dot get, and we are going to get the contact which was updated, so which is at the position 3. Then I will copy this text view.text and I will paste it down here, and I will change this to updated contact also here. And you can also put here updated name and updated phone number. And so now let's run this. But we should update our contact. So I'm going to type here new contact dot set name equals to Alina. Let's stop our app. Alright, so we get updated name Maria, updated phone number, we get 3244. So we get this because we didn't change here the values of our contact. So I'm going to type here new contact equals new contact dot phone number equals, and I'm going to pass a random number here. Now if you run this now, you will see the updated name and the updated phone number, because previously I forgot to put here the name and the phone number updated. So we get updated name Alina, updated phone number, and we get our phone number that we pass here. So this is how you can update a contact in your database. I'm gonna end this video here and see you in the next video. Now we are going to add two more functions to our database handler, and those are delete contact and get contact count, which is going to return the number of contacts in our database. Therefore, I'm going to go down here and I'm going to create first the delete contact. So I'm going to type here fun delete contact. It's going to take as a parameter a contact. It's not going to return anything. And here I will use this val that writable database. I'm going to copy this, I'm going to paste it here, and down here I will type db dot delete. Here I'm going to type constants dot table name, comma, I'm going to type constants dot key ID, constants should be there, dot key ID. I'm gonna put here plus, quotation marks, equals, and question mark. Then I'm gonna put a comma. I'll go down here and I'll type array of, and here I will type contact dot id dot toString, and this is gonna delete our contact. Now I'm gonna go inside main activity. I will uncomment this code, and I will delete this code because I don't need this code. So let's uncomment why it didn't uncomment our code. Alright, now I'll go up here and I'll type val contact1 equals, I'm gonna type db dot get contact1, val contact2 equals db dot get contact2. Down here I will type db dot delete contact contact1, and let's press Ctrl D, db.delete contact, contact 2. Now, if I run our app, you should see the Alex and John being deleted, so they're not going to be displayed in our database. Because when get all contacts is going to be called, it's going to get all of our contacts, and because before we are deleting those two contacts, those should not be visible in our text view. So we wait a little bit. Alright, so our app opened, and we have only Maria and Anna, and our Alex and John contacts are deleted. So our code now works well. Now let's add another function, and we're gonna add the get contacts count function. So I'm gonna go inside database handler. I'll type fun get contacts count. Is going to return an integer, the number of, which is going to be the number of the contacts. I'm going to type here val count query equals to question mark select from, and here I'm going to put plus, or I'm going to put here $sign constants dot table name. I will go down and I will type here let's hide emulator val db equals to this dot get readable, because we're gonna read, and then I'll type val cursor equals db dot row query. I'm gonna pass our query, and I'm gonna pass null for the second parameter. Should be a comma there, and then I'm gonna return cursor dot count. Cursor dot count. All right. Now if I go inside main activity, what I will do, so I will go down here and I will type text view data dot append, and here I will type db dot, actually let's put it in quotation marks, the number of contacts colon, and I'll type I'm gonna put first $sign db dot get contact count. So that's gonna get us the number of contacts that we have in our database. Now if I run this, and this string that we added here is going to be appended to the end of our text, to our text that is displayed. Alright, so we get an error. Let's see why you have an error. So click on logcat and let's go here. Oh, sorry, that is because instead of an activity, db.getContacts count. So why it's logcat? It's telling that here is the problem, but we didn't call that function. Alright, I think I know where is the problem. The problem is that after I deleted the contact 1 and contact 2 respectively, I deleted Alex, John and their corresponding phone number. Those contacts become then the contact 1 and contact 2. And when I try down here to get db.get contacts count, that's gonna return nothing, because we deleted all of our contacts when we run our app for the second time. So what we need to do is to delete this line of code, and let's run our app again. So you get Maria, Anna, Alex, John, and but let's put this in an nested scroll view. So let's put here to see our contacts count, nested scroll view, match parent, wrap content, and let's put this text view. So we'll go to main activity, let's run our app again. Alright, so we have Maria, Anna, Alex, John, and we have this multiple times because we run our app multiple times, and db.contact is called multiple times. So if I go scroll down, you get the number of contacts is 18. So this is the number of contacts that we have in our contacts database, and we have 18 because we run our app multiple times, and when those lines of code were called, it added again those contacts. So this is why we have 18 of them. Alright, now I'm gonna end this video and see you in the next video. So, what are Android architecture components? Android architecture components are a bunch of libraries that are supposed to help us build more robust and maintainable apps. But what does maintainable means, and why you need an architecture? As beginners, we write all of our code into activities and fragments, and for smaller projects that's not really a problem. But when an app gets bigger, this tightly coupled code can turn into a problem, because it gets harder and harder to make changes to it without having a ripple effect on the whole code. And managing the activity and fragments lifecycles becomes harder and harder the more stuff we put in there. And architecture components are there to help us build more isolated components where each part of the program has a well-defined responsibility and ideally can be modified or removed without touching any other component. The architecture component that we are going to use is a library called room. And this is the structure of the room. First we have entity. Entity is a class which is annotated with entity that is used to describe a database table when we are working with rooms. So an entity is a table. Next we have DAO. DAO stands for data access objects, which is used for mapping SQL queries to functions. So here we're going to define our queries. Next we have the room database, and the room database is an improved version of SQLite database. It encapsulates all of it encapsulates the entity and the DAO and creates all the code necessary for creating the database. So you don't need to write SQL statements for creating the database, as you'll see. You just I'm not gonna go into that now, but the room database basically encapsulates the DAO and the entity and creates the database for us. So, and it's a better version of the SQLite database that we use in the past. Next we have repository, and repository is a class that is mainly used to manage multiple sources of data, as you can see in this diagram. You can have the room, you can have the SQLite database, or you can have the web service as the source of the data. Next we have a view model, and the view model acts as a communication center between repository and the UI. And the UI no longer needs to worry about the origin of the data. The view model instances, and this is very important, survive configuration changes. So the activity and the fragment, if there is a configuration change like rotating the screen, the data is going to be preserved, and this is very important. Next we have LiveData, and LiveData is a data holder class that can be observed. It can be observed by some observer, which can be the fragment or the activity. It holds as well as catches the latest version of the data and notifies our observer, which can be the activity or the fragment, whenever the data is being updated. And in turn, the data which is being displayed is changed immediately by the observer. And LiveData automatically manage all of this since it's aware of the relevance lifecycle status changes while observing. So it's lifecycle aware of the life cycles of our observer. So these are the components, and the big takeaway from all of this is that what we are having now, it's a structure, and we have modularization. This is a word which is hard to say. And basically we have a structure where we have components separated which interact with each other and don't have all the code tightly up in the same place like we have in the past when into an activity or into a fragment. Now we have a structure. Now we have a way of separating our code, a way of putting our queries and all the data that we're going to get into a separate container, and then we have repository, we have the view model, which is which holds our data and forwards the data to the activity or the fragment, and the data is wrapped into this live data, which basically observes the data in the database, and whenever there is a change, it will bubble up the change to the activity, and the activity or the fragment, it will update the data which is shown on the screen. And very important, this structure that we have now, it's survive configuration changes. So if you rotate the screen or if you leave the app and you come back 5 hours after, the data is going to be preserved. And previously the data would not, in order to preserve the data previously, you have to use the save instance state to get all the variables before, and we have to manage all of that in the correct life cycle of the functions. So you need to call functions, and you don't need to do any of this now, because now you have modularization. So the data is separated in containers, and is separated in each and each has a well-defined responsibility, and it knows what to do, and each component knows only about the component below of it. So this is the introduction into Room database, and see you in the next video. In this video we are going to add the Room dependencies and also going to create our entity class. Therefore I'm going to open my browser. I'll type Room dependency in the search bar. Press enter. We click on this result, Room Android developers. We go down here and we copy this dev room version 2.4.3 and the implementation and the annotation processor. So let's copy all of that. Let's copy that. Let's close our browser. Now let's create a new project. Choose empty activity. Click on next. I'm going to call it room. And I'm going to click on finish. Now our project is going to be created in a short moment. Alright, so now our project is created. Now let's add the dependencies in our app. And to add our dependencies in our app, we just click on the greater arrow in front of Gradle scripts, and make sure to click on this build Gradle model app room app, and we go here and we add our dependencies inside here, the dependencies. And now you may be wondering what those dependencies are and why you need to add them. Let's press Ctrl V to add them, and I'm going to explain. So by adding the dependencies here, we make available all the code which those dependencies, which the room library contains. So you make available all of that code in your code by adding the dependencies here. This is how you make use of that code. So let's change this version here because it's saying that there is a new version. Now after I added the dependency, you need to click on sync now. So that is going to integrate the dependencies, is going to make the code that the room provides available in our program, in our app. So now I'm going to go inside main activity. Let's click the build let's close the build.gradle. Let's right click on the com.example.room, and let's create a new Kotlin class file. Let's call this file node, and here I will type data class node. Press enter, and here I will type val title of type string. So now we are going to create our entity, and our entity represents our table in our database description, and the properties that we define now they represent the columns in our table. So we have a title, a description, and as you'll see, you can change the name of those columns. But for now, let's type here string and val age of type int. And we also need, as you know from the previous videos, we need a unique identifier for each row. So we need an ID, and to add the ID, I'm going to type here val ID inside the curly braces of the class data class node equals to 0, and I will annotate it. So I'll add an annotation at primary key in parentheses auto generate equals true, and that is going to make sure that every time we add a new row in our table, the ID is going to be incremented. Now we're not finished. Now we need to annotate our class in order for our class to be treated and when we compile our code to create our table, we need to annotate our class with entity, and we put parentheses, and here we're going to type table name, and I'm going to call this table name node underscore table. So now all of this code that we type here is gonna create create the table, and is gonna create the corresponding columns for our table: title, description, and age. Now those are the names of the columns: title, description, and age. But you can change them by putting at, and you type here column info, and you can put parentheses, and you type here name, and you can provide a different name like title node. So you can change the name of the columns in your table using this annotation if you want. And you can do the same thing for the next ones. So this code that we have now here is going to create a table, and as you can see, we don't have to type any kind of code because we only use these annotations. And the code that is going to create the table is going to be generated it's going to be generated at compile time by row. So now I'm going to end this video here and see you in the next video. Alright, so in the last video we created our entity, and in this video we're going to create our DAO, our data access objects. And the DAO is an interface that defines all the database operations we want to do on our entity. Therefore, let's open Android Studio. Let's right click on the package, go to new, let's choose Kotlin class file, let's call it node.dao, press enter, and this is going to be an interface. Let's call it node.dao, curly braces, and now here we're going to define our functions. So I'm going to type here first insert, so I'm going to type fun insert, and it's gonna insert a node of type node, and we're gonna put above the annotation insert. Then I'm gonna type fun delete. I'm gonna delete a node of type node. I'm gonna annotate it with delete. So by annotating with delete and don't providing the actual body, the actual body is going to be generated by the room for us. So this is why we don't provide the function body here. Then I will type here fun update, also node type node. Alright, let's call it, let's put update. So now all of those, by not providing the body, as I said, is going to be generated when we compile, when we run our program, and it's going to be generated automatically by the room database. Now let's say that I want to delete all nodes. For this we need to use a query. We don't have already pre-built annotation for deleting all nodes. So what I can do here, I can type fun delete all nodes, and I can type here at query, and here I'll type delete in quotation marks, delete from node table, and that is going to delete all the nodes from our node table. Now we also need to get all the nodes from our table, so let's see how we can do that. Therefore I will go down here, I'll type fun get all nodes, and it's gonna have a return type, and the return type is gonna be a live data. So I'm gonna put here live data of type mutable list of, and that is gonna be a node. So I'm gonna type a node, and down here above I will put a query. I'll type query, and I'll type here select from, so select all from. As you can see, if I don't provide the letter and I just type fro, I get immediately an warning, unlike the SQLiteOpenHelper where you can type that and you not get an warning, but here you get an warning. Delete from, select from table node, order by priority. Alright, so there is a problem here, and the problem is that instead of priority, when I created the entity, I typed age. So let's change this to priority. Let's go back here, and now the error disappeared. Now, as you can see here we are returning live data of mutable list of node, and the room can return live data out of the box, as I said in the first video. And the difference is that you can observe this object. We can observe this object here. So as soon there is changes in our node table, our data is going to be automatically notify. So you'll get immediately in real time the data updated when there is a change in our node table, and that's going to be sent to our UI, to our main activity or to our fragment. Alright, now let's create the database. One more thing that we need to do is to mark our functions with the suspend keyword, because we're going to call them from a coroutine. So let's make them suspend only for those three. Now let's create our database. I'm gonna right click, select Kotlin class file. Let's call it and I will type here node database, and I will type abstract class node database inherits from the room database, parentheses, and above I'm gonna put an annotation database entities, and I'm gonna pass our node class. Let's put actually this in an array of node class. Then type version. So this is similar to the SQLiteOpenHelper. Export schema to false, and inside I'm gonna put curly braces, I'll type abstract fun get nodes DAO, and it's gonna return a node DAO. And then I will type here companion object, because we're gonna create a singleton, only one instance of our database. And I will type here private var instance. It's gonna be of type database, node database. That's gonna be nullable, and gonna assign null to it. Then I will type fun get instance. It's gonna take a context, and it's gonna return, let's import that, and it's gonna return a node database. And here I will type, so let's put a comment, if the instance is null, then return it. Again a comment, if it is, so if it is not null, so if it is null, then create the database. And here I will type return instance, the Elvis operator, and here I will type synchronized on this curly braces, and here I will type val instance equals to room database database builder. I'm gonna pass the context dot get application context, get application context. I'm gonna put a comma, and here I will type node database. So our node database class Java, and here I'm also gonna pass the name of the database, node database, and I'm gonna put dot build dot, so that it should be here, sorry. So let's put this dot build, and here I'm gonna type instance equals to instance, and I'm gonna return the instance. So let's put a comment here, return instance. So I'm gonna type here instance. All right. So what this is gonna do is gonna return an instance of our database if the database doesn't have an instance created, and if it has an instance created, it will return the already existing instance. And synchronize means that this can be accessed by only one thread, because threads can have multiple threads trying to access the same database, and by making synchronize this block of code, you make sure that only one thread at a time can access the database, so you don't get in a scenario where, let's say, the database let's say the database is null, so we didn't create a database, and one thread tries to access that database, it's null, and then another thread tries to access the database, and meanwhile the first thread created a database, but the second thread still has the information that the database is null. So you get in those kind of scenarios where where you can get easily in trouble. So by making this synchronized, we make sure that only one thread can access this code at a time. Alright, so now we have our database ready, and it's abstract because this all the code that is necessary for creating the database, it will be generated automatically by the room database, so you don't need to type ourselves all of that. Alright, so I'm gonna end this video here and see you in the next video. Alright, so now we have our entity, our DAO, and our room database created. Next, we need to create the repository. And the repository class basically abstracts the access to multiple data sources, such as the room database or the web service. And to create a repository class is very easy. Just open Android Studio, right click on the package, go to new, Kotlin class file. And I'm gonna call this node repository. Press enter, and I will create here a class. And I will type class node repository. It's gonna have a primary constructor, a private val nodes DAO. That is gonna be our DAO, curly braces, and here I'll type val all nodes equals, let's put LiveData of type here, so LiveData of type mutable list of type node. We need to import that. Then I'm gonna put equal node DAO, the property defined above, that get all nodes. And that is gonna return all the nodes. Next, I will type a suspend function, so suspend fun insert, and it's gonna take a node of type node, and gonna type node DAO, our node DAO that is defined in the primary constructor, dot insert node. Then I'm gonna have a suspend fun delete node of type node DAO dot delete node. Also for update, suspend fun update, it's gonna take a node DAO dot update node. So we type here node, and that's basically it. That is all for the repository class. So I'm gonna end this video here, and we are going to continue our discussion in the next video. We're gonna look at the view model. Now it's time to start a discussion about view model, and the view model is basically used for providing data to the user interface. It acts as a communication layer between the repository and the UI. But in order to use the view model, let's first add a dependency. So I'm gonna open my browser. I'm gonna type room lifecycle dependency, press enter, we click on this lifecycle Android developers, and we go down here and we copy this lifecycle dependency. So we copy this with the implementation and with the define lifecycle version, and then we go inside our Android project to build that Gradle, and we add that dependency here. But I already added that dependency, as you can see here. I will just add the version here. So def, let's change this to $, lifecycle. Alright, so now let's sync this. I already had this dependency added here, but if you don't, and you probably don't have, just add it here and click on sync now. Now let's create our node view model. So I'm gonna right click on this package ROM. I'm gonna select Kotlin class file, and it's gonna be a file node view model. Press enter, and here I will type class node view model. We're gonna have a parameter application, and it's gonna extend from Android view model, and we're gonna pass the application to the constructor of the Android view model. Then I'm gonna put curly braces, and now I'm gonna create variables for our nodes and for the repository. So I'll type here val all nodes of type LiveData, because we're gonna retrieve LiveData, of mutable list, LiveData should be here, of mutable list of node. And then I'm gonna type val repository, node repository, I'm gonna type now init, and here I will type val DAO equals node database dot get instance. I'm gonna pass the context application, and the application is a subclass of context. This is why you can pass, even though the get instance expects a context, we pass the application, it works. Dot get node DAO. So we get our DAO, then we type repository equals repository node repository, and we pass our DAO to the constructor because it's expecting a DAO. Then I'm gonna type all nodes equals repository dot all nodes. So we're getting our all nodes. Now down here I will type fun delete node, and I'm gonna put parentheses, I'm gonna type node, and I'm gonna put equals, and here I'm gonna type now view model scope data line. So I'm gonna create a coroutine because the delete, the add, and the update operations on our database needs to be done on a background thread. So I'm gonna use coroutines here. So I'm gonna launch, and I will type here repository dot delete, and I'm gonna pass our node. So you're doing now this on a background coroutine. Then I'm gonna type fun update node. I'm gonna type here node equals again view model scope dot launch. So we're launching a coroutine repository dot update, and I'm gonna pass a node. Then I'm gonna type again fun add node. I'm gonna take as argument a node, and I'm gonna put equals to view model scope dot launch, and here I will type repository dot add node, repository dot insert, and I'm gonna pass our node. So this is with our node. So it says here that we can make this private, also this. Alright, so now we have our node view model ready. Now let's go inside main activity. Let's go here. And I will go up here. I will create a variable private latent it var node ViewModel of type node ViewModel. Then down here I will type node ViewModel equals ViewModel provider. So ViewModel provider. We put parentheses. Then I'm going to type here this for the first argument. For the second, I'm going to type ViewModel provider dot Android ViewModel factory, and I'm going to pass here application. Then I'm going to put here dot get, and here I'm going to type node ViewModel colon colon class Java, and this can be replaced with the index operator. So let's replace it. Now I'm gonna go down here and I will type node ViewModel dot all nodes. So we have all nodes because I changed all nodes from private to I deleted the private access modifier to make it public by default. So let's go back in main activity. I'm gonna put dot observe, and I'm gonna choose this one, observe. I'm gonna pass first this, and then the observer. And the observer is a lambda function. So I'm gonna put curly braces, and here we're gonna we can type list arrow and press enter, and here you'll see when we're gonna create the recycle view, here we're gonna add our data from this list. So here we can add the data to our recycler view. Alright, so I'm gonna end this video here, and we're gonna continue our discussion in the next video when we're gonna create our recycle view and we're gonna add our nodes. Now we have everything in place, so let's recap what we built so far. We created the class and annotated with entity, so Room can create SQLite table for it. The repository uses the node DAO to retrieve all the data entries from our node table as a list wrapped into LiveData. The ViewModel receives the same live data from the repository and sends it to the main activity. The main activity doesn't store the data itself, but it observes the live data that is in the ViewModel, and it automatically receives an updated list of nodes whenever the data in SQLite table changes. So whenever happens down here, it should immediately be sent up to the activity or to the fragment. So this is what we built so far. Now let's create a recycle view and an adapter. So I'm going to open Android Studio. And first we're going to create a layout, which is going to be the individual item of our recycle view. It's going to be the node item. So I'm going to type here layout, new layout, node underscore item, and we choose card view. Card view, choose this Android X, click on OK, go to code, and here we're going to type margin end 8dp, margin start 8dp, and margin top also 8dp. Then I'm going to create down here a relative layout. So I'm going to type relative, match parent, wrap content, opening tag, and inside this tag I'm going to put a text view, wrap content for width and height. I'm going to have the ID text view underscore priority. It's gonna have a text appearance, at style, text appearance appearance dot app compat dot large, and let's put a text. Let's put here text 1. So let's see how it looks. So we have our text here. Let's also add a padding to our recycle view of ADP. I will go down here, and here I will type align parent end to true. So now is at the end, you have the priority there. Go to code. I'm going to create another text view. Wrap content for width and height. It's going to have the ID text view title, and I'm gonna go here. I'll type text appearance, also appcompat.large, and I'm gonna type here to start off text view priority and align parent start to true. Let's put a text like title, so text, title. Let's look at design. So we have our text here now, here, as you can see. But we have, so we have, it should be wrap content for the, here. So wrap content, design. So we have our card now. Next, I will add another text view down here. And you can also add here a max lines, so the maximum lines, max lines 1, and we can also put ellipse size. So when we so let me show you actually what I'm trying to do here. So this is the title, and let's say that I set the max line to 1, and if I increase the text, let's put something here. Go to design. As you can see, it overlap with the text that we have here. And another better way is to put some dots here, meaning that there is some more text. And we're gonna do that with ellipse size. So I'm gonna put here ellipse size, and so now if I go to design, now as you can see we have title AAA and dot dot dot, so that means that we have more text there. So let's delete this. Let's create another text view. So I'm gonna go down here, I will type text view, wrap content for the width and height, ID, text view description, and it's gonna be below text view title. Let's put a text. Let's type description. Let's go to design, and now we have our title and our description. Let's go to code. Now let's go inside activity main.xml. Let's go to code. Let's delete this text view, and let's put here a recycle view. So I will put here a recycle view. I will type recycle view, Android X, match parent, wrap content, or also match parent, closing tag, and now I will add here tools, list item, aron, layout, note item. Now if I go to design, you can see how our items are gonna look. So we have title, we have and it's looking very beautiful. So let's go back to code. Now let's create a new package. We'll go to new, package, and let's call this package adapters. Here we're going to put our adapters. So I'll go inside adapters, go to new Kotlin class file. Let's call it node adapter. So I'm going to type here class node adapter. It's going to extend recycle view dot adapter, and I'm going to put angle brackets. Let's put curly braces, and I will type here inner class node view holder extends recycle view dot view holder, and here is expecting a view, so let's create here a view of type view, of type view, and let's pass it here curly braces, and here I will type private text view, private latent var text view title of type text view, private latent var text view description, text view description, and you can actually delete this, and you can put here text view title equals view find view by ID r.id.text view. Let's import the r.id.text view title as text view, and let's remove the latent. Let's change it to val. Let's do the same here, and let's change it to val. I'm gonna type equals view find view by ID r.id text view description as text view. I'm gonna cast the text view. Let's put private here. Then I'm gonna type again private text view private val text view priority equals view dot find view by ID r.id text view priority. I'm gonna cast it as a text view. Now here you're gonna pass context. So context, let's create a val context, type context, and a val mutable, let's call it nodes list, type mutable list of type node. Alright, and here we're gonna type node adapter dot node view holder. Now we need to implement some functions. So let's click here, implement members, and we have our functions. Let's put this below. let's delete those to do. Here let's return, let's put equals nodes list dot size, and here I'll type return node view holder layout inflator dot inflate dot from. I'm gonna pass context dot inflate r dot layout dot node item. Then I'm gonna pass parent here. No, not here. So here we're gonna pass the comma, parent, and false. Down here I'll type val node equals to nodes list. I'm gonna get the item at this position. So position. Then I will type holder dot I should make those not private. So holder dot text view title equals node dot title dot text should be there. Holder dot text view description equals node dot description dot text again, sorry. Then holder dot text view priority equals to node dot priority, and here we need to put again that text. Node dot priority dot to string, because that's an integer, so I need to convert it into a string. So now we have our node adapter ready. The problem now is that we don't have a way of adding items to our recycle view, and we're gonna do this in the next video. So I'm gonna end this video here and see you in the next video. Now let's continue our discussion, but let's make some changes to our node adapter. And the first change is to delete this from the constructor, also the context. And now we'll have a problem here. And instead of context, I'm gonna pass here parent dot get context. All right, and I'll go inside the class and I'll type private val nodes list of type mutable list of node equal to mutable list of. And what I will do, I will create a function down here, fun set nodes mutable list. So it's gonna receive a multiple list of nodes, and I'm gonna type here it should be node, and here we're gonna type nodes list equals to nodes, and we have a problem. So let's change it to var. Let's go inside main activity. Now let's create our recycle view. Let's give an ID to our recycle view, because now it doesn't have an ID. So let's give it an ID, recycle view color recycle view, and we go inside main activity. I'll type private latent var recycler recycle view, private latent init var adapter, let's call it nodes adapter of type nodes node adapter, and down here I will type recycle view equals to find view by id r.id dot recycle view. Then I'll type recycle view dot let's create the adapter here now. So let's type nodes adapter equals to nodes node adapter. Then I'll type recycle view dot adapter equals to nodes adapter. Then I'll type recycle view dot layout manager equals to linear layout manager, and we have a problem. Let's pass this here. All right. Now inside here where we are observing the data, where we're observing the nodes, we're gonna type adapter nodes adapter dot set nodes, and we're gonna pass it. So it means this list, this mutable list that is observed. And right now we don't have any data because we didn't add any data, but we'll add the data in the next video. So let's go to code now. Let's clean our project, or to build clean project to get rid of the underline from there. Alright, so in the next video, I'm gonna create another activity which is gonna be responsible for adding nodes in our SQLite database, in our room database. So I'm gonna end this video here and see you in the next video. In this video, we are going to create an add nodes activity, which is going to be responsible for adding nodes to our room database, and we're also going to display those nodes in our recycle view. Therefore, let's create a new activity. Let's create first a package. Let's go to package. Let's call it activities. And inside this activity, I'm going to right click, go to new, select activity, empty activity. I'm gonna call it let's say add edit activity. Now let's go inside the activity underscore add underscore edit.xml. I'm gonna go to code. Here I'm going to change the constraint layout to a linear layout, but we have to wait a little bit until the Gradle project syncs is finished. So it's finished now. Let's go and put here a linear layout. Linear layout. Orientation vertical. A padding of 16 dp. And we are going to add an edit text here. We choose this one, match parent, wrap counter for the height. It's gonna have an ID, edit text title, ID, edit text title. It's gonna have a hint, title, and the input type is going to be text. Then I'm going to create another edit text, match parent, wrap content. It's going to have an ID, edit text ID, edit text description, input type, text multi-lines. And also going to add a text view here, text view, wrap content for width and height. It's not going to have an ID because we're going to not use this in our Kotlin code. It's going to have a text, priority, margin top of 8 dp, and the text appearance, at Android style / text appearance dot medium not material. So now if I look at design, we have this, it's very big, so let's change this match parent height to wrap content here. Also wrap content here. Let's go to design, and now it looks like this. Now let's add our number picker, which is going to be responsible for picking the priority. We're going to have wrap content width and height, and it's going to have an ID. Number picker underscore priority. Now let's create some vectors, because we're gonna have some icons on the top right hand side of our add edit activity. So I'm gonna go to vector asset. The first one is gonna be add. We wait a little bit. Add, choose this one. Next, click on finish. I'm gonna create another vector asset, save, IC underscore save, and another vector asset, which is gonna be exit or close. So let's choose this one. Let's change the name to close. Click on next, and then on finish. Now let's create a menu. So I'm gonna go to resource, Android resource directory. We choose menu, click on OK. Right click, go to new menu resource file. Let's call it let's say add edit. Actually, let's call it save menu. And it's gonna have an item here. It's gonna have an ID, save menu item, a title, save, and show as action if room. Let's close this. Let's see how it looks. Let's go to code because I don't like, so let's delete this text. Let's change it to never. So let's choose if room. Let's add SR icon and let's type save. Let's look now, but we also need to add the text, so text title save. So now I have our icon here. Now let's go inside our add edit activity. Now here I'm gonna import the R, so let's import the R. Now let's go inside activity main because I am going to add a button here, so it's gonna be a floating action button, wrap content for the width and height. But let's put first this, let's change the constraint layout to a coordinator layout, so we have more flexibility with our widgets. And now I'm gonna type here layout gravity bottom vertical bar, and let's go to design. Now we have our button there, and let's put an icon src add, and let's also add the margin of 32 dp. So now if I look at design, we have our add button there. Let's go inside main activity. Let's reference our buttons. I'm going to type here private latent var add note button of type button, and down here I'll type add note button equals to find view by id r.id. Let's give an ID to our button. So let's go inside activity main, go to code, let's give it an ID, add note button. Let's go back main activity, and I'm gonna type here add note button. Alright, let's go to build. Let's clean our project to get rid of this underline. Now let's go inside add edit activity, and here I'll create some variables: private latent var edit text title of type edit text, private latent var edit text description of type edit text, and private latent var number picker, and I will go down here and I'll type here edit text title equals to find view by id r.id dot edit text title, edit text description equals to find view by id r.id edit text description, and number picker equals to find view by id r.id dot number picker priority. Then I'll go down here, I'll type get support action bar dot set home as app indicator, and here I'm gonna type r dot drawable dot icy close. let's put Elvis operator here. Now let's create our menu here. So I'm gonna type on create options menu, and I'm gonna type here, delete this, return true, and I'm gonna type here menu inflator dot inflate. I'm gonna pass menu, here need to pass r dot layout, r dot menu dot save menu and menu. Alright, so now I have everything set in place, and I will also add here a title. So title equals to add note. Then I will go down here. I will type on create on options menu item selected. I'm gonna type here when item dot item ID r dot ID dot save menu item. I'm gonna call a function save note. So I'll go up here, I'll type fun save note, and I'll type here val title equals edit text title dot text dot to string, val description equals edit text description dot text dot to string, and val priority equals to number picker dot priority. And here we need to type number picker dot get value, and here I will type number picker dot set mean value. Let's put it to equals to 0, and number picker dot max value equals to 10, let's say. Alright, now down here I will type if title dot trim, so to remove the space, it dot is empty, so if it is empty, or description dot trim dot to string without to string dot trim dot is empty, then we're gonna return. I'm gonna put a toast first, toast dot make text this, please insert title and description. I'm gonna say please insert title and description, toast dot length toast dot length long dot show, and return. So we're gonna return if we're gonna leave the function if it's empty. Else we're gonna go down here. Now I need to go inside main activity, and I will go down here, and I will type add note button that set on click listener, and here I will type val intent equals intent this add main activity and add. So where you want to go and add edit text, add edit activity class.java. But in order to do that, I'm gonna go up here. I'm gonna type val get result, because we're gonna start an activity for result. I'm gonna type here register activity for result. Here I'll type activity result contract. So activity result contract. So we choose this one. Dot start activity for result. I'm gonna put curly braces, and I'm gonna type here if, but we have a problem. Oh, we need to put parentheses here. If, I'm gonna type here it dot result code. Now we need to create a result code. So let's create a package first. Let's go here, package constants. Let's type it, call it utils actually, utils. And here we're gonna put our constants. New Kotlin class file constants object constants const val extra. Let's call it request underscore code equals to 1-on-1. Now let's go back inside main activity. Again, here I'm going to put equals constants dot request code. Then we're going to get the data, and we're going to get back first val, and we need to create some also some constants. Let's type here const val extra underscore title equals to title, const val extra underscore description equals to description, and const val extra underscore priority equals to priority. Then I will go inside main activity and I'll type val first. It's gonna be gonna get first the title equals get it dot get, or we type here title, type it dot data dot get string extra. Let's type constants. So constants dot extra title. Let's press Ctrl D a few times. Let's change now this to description. Elvis operator here, Elvis operator here, and Elvis operator here. From extra title to description and to priority, and let's change this to priority. And what we need to do next here is type val note equals to note. I'm gonna pass title because we're gonna create now an object, description, and priority. But we have a problem. Alright, so the problem is that it thinks that those are nullable. So let's put those. title, description, and also here, because they're not gonna be null, because we checked here with the Elvis operator that it's not gonna be null. Priority found in the required string, dot to string. And actually let's change it to get int extra, and here I'll type priority. Alright, then, and I have a problem here. So I need to put a default value. Let's put -1. Then I will type here ViewModel, node ViewModel dot insert or add or new node. Alright, so now everything looks fine. Let's go inside add edit activity, and here we're gonna send the data back. So here I will type intent, but before that let's go back, and here we're gonna type here get result, dot launch our intent from above. Alright, now let's make sure that we send the data back from our add edit activity. So we're going to create here an intent. So we type here intent dot apply, and I'm going to type put extra constants dot extra title. We're going to have the title. Then I'm going to post control D 2 times, extra description, and extra priority. Then down here I'll type set result, and we need to pass the result code. So I'm gonna type here first constants dot request code and our intent, but our intent is this one. So let's copy all of this and let's paste it here to see if it works. Alright, so it works. And then I'm gonna type here finish to leave this activity. Now if you run this, also you have a problem with the SDK, so let's go inside Gradle. And let's change this to 33. Click on sync now. So let's look at run to see if you have any problems. Let's look at LoadCat first, because it didn't open our app. Let's go inside build.gradle again. Let's change this to 33. Let's click on sync. Now let's run our app again. Alright, so, but it didn't open our app again. Let's see why. Alright, so the problem is that this should be a floating action button, not a button. So let's type floating action button. Let's run this again. So it crashed again. Alright, so I solved the problem by adding this code here and delegating our node ViewModel to ViewModels, and we pass to our lambda here the factory, the one that is created here above. So this is what solve our problem with the ViewModel. But after I solved this problem, I got another problem from the database, and the problem was because instead of making this a var, because this will be incremented, because this represents our table, and when you add a new row, this is going to be incremented. I declared this as a var, so this should be a var. And also I forgot to add the annotation here to DAO. I forgot to add the annotation DAO here, at DAO, so you should add that here. And in the add edit activity, I also added here support action bar, set display home as app enable, and that's gonna make sure that we have the icon on the left hand side on the top. Now everything works fine. Well, one thing that we need to do is not adapter. After we set our nodes, we need to notify our adapter that something was changed. And in the next videos, we're going to look at more specific functions which can notify when an item is inserted at a specific position, because notify dataset changes saying that a change has happened and it should redraw the whole layout. And with notify with more specific functions like notify item insert and notify item remove, you can get you can also get animations only for those specific for specific positions in your recycle views. Instead of redrawing the whole layout, it will only update that particular item that you removed or deleted or updated. Right, so add notify dataset change for now here. Now let's run our app to see how it works. So let's run our app. Right, so we have one item because I added this item previously. Now let's click on the add button, and that's going to take us to add the edit node activity. Let's add here, let's say exercise let's type you should exercise daily. Priority, let's put it to 1, and let's click on the save button. And now when I click on the save button, as you can see, it's added it immediately here. And with the notify dataset change, as I said, the whole layout is redrawn, but we're gonna use more specific functions like notify item remove, notify item inserted, as you'll see in the next videos. But now our app is working. We can add nodes to our app, can set a priority, we can leave our app by the back button. And this works because I go inside the manifest and I set for our add edit activity the parent activity main. So when you click on the button, when you click on this close button, it's gonna take us back to our main activity. So I'm gonna end this video here and see you in the next video. We're gonna continue our discussion. Alright, so while I was recording this video, there was a problem with creating the view model, and the way I tried to create the view model using this code that you see here didn't work for me. So I searched for a solution. I found this solution on the internet, and you basically create this factory, and you delegate then the node view model to the view models, and you pass the factory here. But this is prone to errors, and you no longer need to use this. You can delete all of this, and this is what I suggest to you to do, is to create your node view model here, private latent initvar node view model of type node view model, and keep it in this way. So create your node view model using this code that we have here. So delete the factory method that we created there and the delegation, because that is not gonna work. It's gonna generate errors. So just create it in this way. I did that because there was a problem and I couldn't find what was the underlying problem, because I didn't was able to create the view model. But now it's working, so you can use this code that you see here. So use this code and delete that code that I showed you. Now I'm gonna end this video and see you in the next video. In this video we are going to add a swipe to delete functionality to our app, and also gonna add an option to delete all the items from our list of nodes. So let's go down here, and to add a swipe to delete, to type item touch helper, because there is a class which is gonna help us with implementing this thing. Parentheses, and inside the parentheses I'm gonna type object. You're gonna put colon to inherit from item touch helper dot simple callback parentheses, and now you have two parameters, the drags and the swipe directions. And for the drags I'm gonna put 0, because that is for dragging or dropping. So I'm gonna put 0 there, and for the swipe I'm gonna put item touch helper. So item touch helper dot left. I want to swipe on the left. Now then I'm gonna type or item touch helper dot right. Then outside the parenthesis of the item touch helper dot right, I'm gonna put curly braces and press enter. So now we need to implement those functions in our anonymous inner class. So and we have first the on move. This is trigger when we drag our items, but we're not going to implement that, so I'm going to return simply false here. And here on the on swipe, here you have this view holder, and with this view holder you can get the position, because this view holder that is here is the view holder which was swiped. So you can type here view holder dot adapter position. But the problem is that in our node DAO we can delete a node by passing then the node, not an ID. And to solve that, we go inside node adapter, we create a new function fun get node add. It's gonna have a parameter position of type int, and it's gonna return a node. Let's close this. It's gonna return a node, and here I'm gonna type return, and we type node list square brackets, and we pass the position. Now I'm gonna go inside the main activity, and here I will type adapter nodes adapter. Let's actually use that directly. So I'm gonna type here nodes view model to delete the items. So I'm gonna use the new nodes view model dot delete, and here I'm gonna type adapter nodes adapter dot get node add, and you pass view holder dot adapter position. So we're getting the view holder which was swiped at this particular position, and then we delete that, we get that node using the adapter, using the function that we created previously, and then we delete that node from our node view model. So now if I run this up, let's bring the emulator. We have our 2 items added from our previous video, and now let's add a few other items, like let's say title. Let's add again another one. Now, if I try to swap this, I can. Oh, actually, I forgot to attach it to the recycle view. So let's go down here and put that attach to recycle view, and pass our recycle view. So let's run this again. So now this is now going to be attached to our recycle view, this item touch helper. Click on terminate. And now if I try to swipe, let's wait. If I try to swipe, now it's working either on the left or on the right. So if I swipe it, it's gone. If I swipe it, it's gone from the list. So it's deleted. And let's add a few nodes back. So now ABC, description. So we can swipe it and it's going to be deleted. So the emulator disappeared. Now let's also add an option to delete all nodes from our nodes from our recycle view. And to do that, first I'm going to create a new menu, because we need a new menu. So I'm going to go to new menu resource file. This is going to be main menu, because we're going to add menu for our main activity, main menu. I will go to code, and here I will type item ID. Gonna have an ID. Delete all nodes menu. Title. Delete all nodes, and show as action never. So let's go to design. So we have here. Now let's go inside main activity, and inside here I will type on create options menu, and I will type here menu inflator dot inflate r dot menu dot main menu. I'm gonna pass menu, and here you can return true, not super. And let's also add on options item selected, and here we're going to type when item dot item ID r dot ID dot delete all nodes menu. Gonna delete all the nodes, so I'm gonna simply type here node view model dot delete. I should delete. There is a problem. Alright, so the problem is that I forgot to call our function delete all nodes in our repository. So go to node repository, make sure to declare this function delete all nodes, and then call the function for using the node DAO delete all nodes. Then go inside the node view model, and let's add that function here. So I'll type here fun delete all nodes, and repository dot delete all nodes. Now if I go inside main activity, Now I can type a node ViewModel dot delete all nodes. Now I'm gonna call the function. Now if you run this, let's try on the next emulator because the previous has disappeared, I don't know why. Alright, so our app opened, let's add some nodes. Right, so you can delete them by swiping, as you can see, and you don't have this beautiful animation here now because we're using notify dataset change, and that is gonna tell to the recycle view to redraw the whole layout. So this is why you don't get this nice animations, but we will get to that in the next videos. Now I can click here, and I can click on this delete all nodes, and we get a problem. Alright, so I solved the problem by going inside node DAO and making the delete from node table suspend function. Then when you call from our repository, also make a suspend function. And when you call from our view model, we launch a coroutine. So we're deleting on the background thread, this on the background coroutine, because this is why you get that error. So you should do this thing in order to avoid that error. Just mark your function with suspend, in the node repository also suspend, and in the node view model simply launch a coroutine and do the work on the background. So now if I add multiple nodes here, and let's add another one, and another one, and another one, and now if I click on delete all nodes are deleted now from the recycle view, from the room database, and so this is it. So I'm gonna end this video here and see you in the next video. Now it's time to see how we can edit a node in our app, and for that I will go inside node_item.xml and I will add some attributes here to make this card view to have a ripple effect when you click on the card view, when you click on the node item. Because what I want to do is to click on the node item, and that is going to take us to the add edit activity. This is the reason why I call that activity add and edit, because we're going to use it also to edit our node, and it's going to take us to that activity, and then we're going to edit our particular node on which we clicked. And here I'm going to add some attributes to have the triple effect, which is clickable to true, focusable to true, and for the foreground we pass this one here. Let's press Ctrl Z because I messed up the code. Now I'm going to go inside the main activity, because now I need to declare this get result as a property, because I want to use it in a code later. So what I will do first is to see what type is this expression, the whole expression that is here. So I'm going to press Shift Control P and we select the whole expression, and as you can see it's an activity. Let's press again Shift Control P. It's an activity result launcher. So what I will do, I'll go up here, so I'll declare it as a property. So I'll type private latent it var. I'm gonna type get result. It's gonna be an activity result launcher, and we're gonna have an intent for the type, and I will go down here and I'll delete the val, and I'll just simply put get result equals to this one. Now what I'll do next, I'll go inside node adapter. I will create here an interface, so I'll type interface on click listener. It's gonna have a function on click item, and it's gonna have a parameter, a note. Now what I'll do, I'll go here, because here we're gonna handle our clicks on the item inside this node view holder, because this represents our note note XML. So I'll type here view dot set on click listener, and here I will type, I'll go first up here, I will create a property, I'll type val listener of type on click listener, and I will type here if, I'm gonna type get adapter position, so get adapter position is not equal to recycle view dot no position, and that's a constant which is -1, and we're checking for this because it may happen that we are in the process of swiping, of deleting something, and that in that moment the item has the position the position is changed to -1. So when you click on that, it will generate an error, because you try to add you try to click on the item while it is being deleted. So this is what we're checking here. I'm gonna put curly braces, so we're checking to see if we're not in that scenario, and if that is correct, I'm gonna type listener, the property that we created, dot on click, and here I will type nodes list get, so we're gonna put square brackets, and I will type get adapter position, and that is gonna return our node. Now I will go inside main activity, and now we'll have an underline here. Let's see where it is. So now our adapter expects to pass that property here, and now I will do what I will do. I'll type here this, and I will go up here, I will put a comma, and I will type on click listener from com.example.room.adapters. Now I need to implement that, implement members, implement that function, and what I'll do here, I'll type val title equals node.title, val description equals node.description, val priority equals node.priority, and val id equals node.id. Then I will create a node. I'll type here val node equals to node, and it's gonna have a title, a description, a priority, and I'm gonna type node dot id equals id, so I'm gonna set also the id. Then I will type here, alright, so actually let's delete this object because we don't need this, and I will type here val intent equals to intent. I'll put this at main activity and add, so we want to go in add edit text activity, and here I will type intent dot put extra, and here I will type extra let's type constants dot extra title, and pass the title. Let's press Ctrl D, extra description, extra priority, and extra I created a new constant ID. I'm gonna pass the ID. Alright, next I will type here get result dot launch, and we're gonna pass our intent. Alright, now let's go inside add edit test activity, and here we need to change it to add request code. What we need to do now is to check here if get intent. So if intent dot has extra constants dot extra ID, then we're gonna put the title to title equals to edit note, else I'm gonna set the title to add note. Alright, next, if this is true, what we need to do here is to type edit text title dot set text, and here I will type intent dot get string extra gonna type constants dot extra title. Let's press Ctrl D a few times. So I'm gonna type here extra description, extra priority, and extra ID. Alright, so I'm gonna set the edit text, and now let's change this to edit text description, priority, so we need to type here number picker to set the priority. Number picker dot set value equals to intent get int extra, let's type constants dot extra priority. Let's delete the last one because we're not gonna set the ID. Now I will go down here, and what I will do here is I will check to see if intent dot has extra constants dot extra ID. Then I'm gonna type here alright, so let's change this to if to I'm gonna type here val ID equals to intent dot get int extra, and I'm gonna type here constants dot extra ID, and I'm gonna pass a default value of -1, and I'm gonna type here if ID is not equal to -1, so we have an ID, then I'm gonna type here intent dot apply, so intent so let's put actually set result, and I'm gonna type here constants. I created a new constants for the edit request code, so let's go there to see. So I created those new constants here, so edit request code, and here I will basically copy this, but we're gonna put also another one, put extra the ID, because in order to update the a specific row from our room database, we need the ID. So the SQLite room database needs the ID. So I'm gonna type here constants dot ID, extra ID. I'm gonna pass here ID. I'm gonna type here ID, the ID that we got from above. Else, I'm gonna execute this part. So let's put this. And I'm gonna let the finish here, because no matter what branch is executed, the finish is gonna be called and it's gonna leave the activity. Now, we have an error. Let's see where. Oh, so I need to pass a default value there. Let's put -1. Right, now let's go inside main activity, and now we need to do something when we get that data back. So I'll type here else if, gonna type it.result code equals to edit to constants dot edit request code. Then I'm gonna copy this code that we have here. I'm gonna copy this code also. Control Z, copy. Let's paste it here. But we also need to get the ID, so I'll type here another one. Val ID equals it dot data dot get int extra. Let's type constants dot extra ID, and let's put a default value of -1. And so we're gonna type here note.id equals to ID. Let's separate those two to make it more clear. So we have a problem. Alright, so let's push it. Let's put here. Alright. Next I'll type ViewModel. So note ViewModel dot update node, and I'm gonna pass our node. Alright, let's wipe data to make sure that our emulators are gonna work. And let's run our app to see how it's working and if it's working. Alright, so our app opened. Let's add an item. Let's type title, description, and I'm gonna let the priority to 0. I'm gonna click on the save button, and we have title, description, and the priority 0. So now if I click on this, it automatically takes me here where we have the edit node now, and we have title, description, and let's type title updated, description updated. Let's click on save, and we have title updated, description updated. So our code works fine. If we add new items, let's type reading, daily, priority to 2. Let's save it. Now if I click on reading, I can change it. Reading is fun, and I can save it and get reading is fun, so it's updated daily. Now I can change the daily to when you have time. If I click on save, we have reading is fun when we have time. So now our code works fine. Everything works as expected. The only thing that I don't like is this icon is not white. So let's see why. Let's go inside IC close, IC add, and IC save. And let's change here. Let's press Ctrl Alt L. And let's change the color to white. And to do that, I'm going to use the hex code FFF. So I'm going to type here FFF. And now it's white. So now let's, if you run this again, if I click on this button, now the icon, as you can see, is white. So I can add the new item here. New item. Let's click on save, and now the item is added. And you also have this ripple effect, as you can see when you click on the item. Alright, now I'm gonna end this video here and see you in the next video. In this video, we're gonna see how we can add animations when we delete an item or when we insert an item in our app. Because when I delete now an item, you don't have that smooth animation. And to have that animation, I'll go inside the Node Adapter, and we'll use a class which basically is gonna calculate where a change has made, and then it's gonna add the animation on that particular location. And if I go inside Node Adapter, as you can see here, we have this notify dataset change. But notify dataset change is basically saying to redraw the whole layout. So this is why I don't get those smooth animations. And if you hold Control and click on this, wait a little bit. As you can see, there are other functions like notify item change, notify item inserted, notify item removed. But in our main activity, we don't get, because as you can see, that takes as a parameter an integer. But in our main activity, we only get a list. So we don't get the position or where that element was deleted or was added. And for that reason, we use a list adapter. So let's go inside our Node Adapter. And I will change this recycle view adapter to a list adapter. So let's delete this. I'm going to type here list adapter. I'm going to type here node. And here I will type Node Adapter node view holder. Now I'm gonna delete this because I'm gonna pass the list to the super class. And here I will type private. Actually, first I'm gonna create companion object, because we will need to pass our diff callback here before we create an instance. And the only way to do that is to put it inside a companion object, so that it will be available to the class and not to a specific instance. So I'm going to type here private val diff underscore callback equals object. I'm going to extend from diff util dot item callback. Let's hide the emulator. Note. I'm gonna put curly braces and parentheses there. Now we need to implement some functions here. Those one. And here we have our items the same, and here we have our contents the same. Our items the same basically checks to see if the items are the same. So it doesn't care about the structure equality. So if their content is the same, it only cares about if they are the same. So in other words, if they have the same ID. So I'll put here old item. I'm gonna put return old item dot id equals new item dot id. And here now I'm gonna check for structure equality to see if they are the same structurally. So return old item dot actually equals new item, and that is gonna call the equal to function which was which is generated here because we made our class a data class. Alright, now we have some problems here, so let's change this to get item. So let's put it there because we no longer have. I'm gonna delete this because that is handled by the superclass. I'm gonna delete this set nodes, and here I'm gonna put get item parentheses. And I will go down here also. I will put here get item let's put another parenthesis there. Alright, so now everything looks fine. We still have this because we need to pass the diff callback here. So I'm gonna type here diff callback that we created. Again, I put this in a companion object because if I don't put this in a companion object, I cannot access it here. Let me actually show you. So if I delete the companion object, as you can see, you get an error because this now can be called only when you create an instance of the class. So we cannot call it here. So let's put back the companion object. Alright, now let's go inside main activity. And let's also I'm gonna show you how to add undo functionality to our app. So I'm gonna type here val to get, because I want here to get the removed item. I want to save it in a variable before. So I'm gonna type here nodes adapter dot get node add, and here I'm gonna pass view holder dot adapter position. Then I will type down here snack bar dot make. I'm gonna pass this are on main activity. Then I will pass the recycle view as the view. Then I will pass a text, so I'm gonna say deleted node. Then I'm gonna pass the duration, how long this snack bar is gonna be displayed on the screen, long, and then I'm gonna type dot set action, and I'm gonna put the text undo and curly braces. And here I will type ViewModel node ViewModel dot insert dot add, and I'm gonna add our remove item. So if you click on the undo, it's gonna add the remove item back. Now we have a problem. Let me see where. So yeah, we have a problem here because set nodes now is not. I'm gonna type submit list, and this is a function from the super class, from the list adapter. Now if we run this, let's actually wipe the data to make sure that it's working. Right, let's choose this one and let's run our app. Now let's delete an item. As you can see, now we have this smooth animation. And if I update an item, let's say title updated, description updated, As you can see, that flash out very, very quickly. So now if you delete an item again, as you can see, we have this smooth animation now. But we don't have the snack bar showing us to that because I forgot to put here that show. So let's run our app again. I forgot to put that show to show the snack bar. Right, so now I have our items. Now if I delete on all the items, we get an animation and the snack bar. And if I delete this item, let's say, and we get this, click on undo, it will add the item back. So if I delete this, it will show the snack bar, click on undo, and it will add it back. So if I delete this, click undo, and it will be added back. The same here, if I delete this, click undo, and it was added back. Alright, so this is how we can add the animation and how we can add the snack bar to undo our deleted item. So I'm gonna end this video here and see you in the next videos.